island of Sodor is known by many and is very famous. After all, it is the home of Thomas the Tank. He had grown quite a bit since he had first left the yard and got his branch line, which grew along with him. There were many expansions, new engines on the line, and especially newer services. Meaning Thomas was busier than ever, especially around the holiday seasons. One day, he was shunting in the yards when he heard an engine whistle. Hello, Thomas. Hello, Oliver. Gee, you seem tired. What's up with you? Well, I've had to pull lots of trains and the strain is getting to me, being famous and all, Thomas grumbled. The Fat Controller has me pulling excursion trains alongside my usual passenger runs, and with the mail train at night, it's become too much for me. Thomas yawned. Oliver just scoffed. Seems like you can't handle a bit of hard work. I've escaped scrap, you know. These excursion trains of yours would be light work to me, he boasted. Thomas just rolled his eyes and was about to wish away until he came up with a cheeky idea. You know what, Oliver? If you think you're so capable of doing my work, why don't we switch jobs for today? You run my branch line and I'll handle your work on yours. Then tomorrow morning, we'll see if you really are capable of running the most important part of the line. Fine then. Who knows? Maybe the Fat Controller will see my true potential and he'll reassign me to your branch line and leave you in the yard. I wouldn't get my hopes up if I was you. Well, with everything said and done, I'll talk with the yard manager about the jobs I have for today. You'll have to take these trucks and towed back to Augsburg. Good luck, Thomas. Same to you, puffed up Westerner. And after a talk with the Fat Controller, everything was set in stone for Thomas and Oliver's switch. Hello, ladies. I'll be your engine for today. But where's Thomas? We usually have Thomas. Not today. He's grown too old to do his task, so I've come to help him out. The coaches spoke quietly to each other. He does seem nice, but he really needs to improve on his manners. Now, while Oliver was an expert at pulling passenger trains, he was sometimes a bit careless and didn't always pay attention to what he'd do around others. When he arrived at Ffarqhuar, he let off steam a bit too loudly. Well, that's another train done and sorted. I don't know what Thomas is so worried about. He then noticed the passengers grumbling to themselves. What's up with them? You're letting out too much steam and making quite a noise. We'd like for them to leave in clean clothes and have a nice, quiet day. Oliver blushed slightly, looking down at his buffer's embarrassment. Until Toby rang his bell at him. Oliver, what are you doing here? I swapped jobs with Thomas today, he explained. He said he was too overworked, so I offered my services, he boasted. Toby sighed. I guess some things never change. Well, since you're doing Thomas's work, do me the favor of going up to the quarry and collecting some trucks. Mavis should have them ready for you, but knowing how she can sometimes be, best you stay alert, he said, and left to collect Henrietta. Oliver pondered at Toby's words, but none the wiser, he was uncoupled and made his way to the quarry. Now, since Oliver had never been on Thomas's branch line before, he had never properly met Mavis, or known the ways around Toby's quarry, or any quarry for that matter. Toby should have remembered this. Hello? Oh hey, wait, you're not Thomas. That I am not. I am Oliver, the Great Western Engine. Well, nice to meet you. I'm guessing you're here for Thomas's stone train? Indeed. Where can I find it? The back of the quarry. Needs to set it aside somewhere for shunting, but you'll know it when you see it. And with that, Mavis rolled away, Oliver was quite bothered that his train was at the very back of the quarry, but he went on regardless. When he saw the train, he gulped at the length of the train. Now, while Oliver had a great reputation with trucks, the newer Ffarqhuar ones had never met Oliver before.
"How's this ugly green thing? It looks like Percy with Thomas's shapes. We want a proper engine," they called.
Oliver bumped them. "Sharpen up! None of that nonsense," he called. The trucks grumbled and muttered to themselves, planning on what to do with him. It would have been wise for Oliver to bring Toad with him. There is a small hill before a stretch of line the engines call the Difficult Bend, and engines always have to be sure to not only take care on the stretch of line, but also apply their brakes on the hill. Oliver hadn't paid attention and should have remembered this. As he began to climb the hill, everything went smoothly until on! They pushed Oliver down the hill, going faster and faster. The Difficult Bend was approaching rapidly, and Oliver acted quickly. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt, but Toby had to come along and bring Oliver to the shed to have him checked over. Once he was inspected and given the all clear, he was glad to hear he'd be taking another passenger train, but it ended up being an excursion train to the surprise of his passengers. "Hop on board, everyone, for you'll be having the best ride of your life with me all over the Great Western engine," he boasted. The passengers talked amongst themselves. Oliver thought he was doing well until a boy came up to him.
"Disculpe, where is Thomas?"
"Thomas? Well, he had to take a train elsewhere, so I'll be sending in for him."
"Ah, pero who are you?"
"Me? Why, I'm Oliver the Great Western Engine." The child just looked at him dumbfounded. "The one who escaped from scrap? Works on the Little Western? With Duck and the Scottish Twins? Still nothing?" The boy just shook his head, and before either of them could say anything else, the boy was called away. As the guard blew his whistle, with a lot of wheeshing and whooshing, Oliver started off rather crossly. It seemed that at every station along the line, no one seemed to know who he was. Some people even mistook him for Percy, which offended him deeply. Oliver was so cross that by the end of the run, everyone was unhappy. He had rode roughly, and the passengers made sure that Sir Topham Hatt would hear all about it. As Oliver was preparing to head to the shed for a rest, Annie called to him. "Now hurry back, we've already lost a lot of time with your bumping." "Already? But we just arrived."
"Yes, but now it's the midday service back to Ffarqhuar,"
said Clarabelle. Oliver gulped. The midday service back? He was hoping it would at least be later in the day. And when he heard the angry passengers running to the ticket office, he rushed back to the train, and when the guard blew his whistle, he started off quickly, just as the Fat Controller stepped out of his office to see what was the matter. For the rest of the day, Oliver was confined to goods and quarry trains with Percy and Toby, and it was one train here and one train there, and there seemed to be no break in between. At last, when he returned to the shed, he was very tired and eager for a rest. I have to admit, it's quite a lot here, but at least the day's work is done and I can get a well-deserved rest."
"Oh, no you don't,"
Percy interrupted.
"Tonight is the night Thomas has to help me with the mail train, and since you're taking over for him, you'll have to do it."
"What? Can't you just call him over and let him help you?"
"Not at this hour, especially since we'd only be delayed. The mail should be waiting for us at the quay when we get there, so we can leave straight away. Come on, Oliver, the mail won't deliver itself."
And with that, Percy rushed away to the harbor. Oliver, still tired, followed sluggishly behind. That night, the two engines were hard at work pulling the mail to and from the towns and harbors. Oliver didn't really have a good reputation with the mail, but he tried his best nonetheless.
By morning, he left the mail cars in their shed and left to sleep in a shed in the yards. He was just going to sleep when... Well, look who's sleeping here in none of the sheds. One might assume he was too tired to go back, Please, Thomas, don't make me go back. It was too much. I just want to go back to my branch line. Alright. We can go back to our respective branch lines. I have missed everyone else.
Oh, how do you do it, Thomas? I tried and I couldn't even seem to make it work.
Well, I may not be as wise as Edward, but you get used to it after a while, and I'll let you in on a little secret. Get to know who you're working with. 2 heads are better than 1, or in my case, 4.
Well, I'm just glad it's all over.
Say, what happened to you? Oh, well, it's nothing too serious. Just, got a little bit dirty from all the hard work I did. But we don't have a coal mine. Listen, you just get some rest and I'll worry about getting cleaned up and taking my coaches. And without another word, Thomas raced away. Oliver just hummed quietly. All he wanted was to get some rest. And from there on out, there was no more talk of swapping jobs with Thomas the Tanker.